Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. I've got some cute Dollar Tree winter DIYs for you today, so let's get started. For this first project, I'll be using two of these Christmas signs with the beads and one of the wooden arrows. I'm going to start off by painting the arrow black. It just needs one coat, but I'm going to do the top and all of the sides. I'm not going to worry too much about the back this time. With the two signs, I removed the top little frame piece and the paper came off fairly easily. It was actually stuck more to the frame that was on top, but for now, I'm just going to be using these bottom boards and I'm only going to be painting the outside of them black. The arrow, I really didn't have to paint the whole thing either, but I figured I may as well. But for these ones, I'm just going to be painting a good inch all the way around and the edges. I have this leftover piece of scrapbook paper that came from a Christmas paper pack last year from Michael's. And I just thought it was so pretty with the fuzzed out trees, but all the snow on top. So I'm going to be cutting two squares that are going to match the size of the two little signs. I'm going to use this wood grain paper for the arrow, but because the paper isn't long enough for the arrow, I'm going to just go to the head of the arrow like you see me doing here, trace that out, and then I'll get another piece to match for the arrowhead. I'm just going to use my finger to kind of get the outline of where the arrowhead is, and then I'll cut it a little bit smaller so it sits inside and you see a little bit of a black frame, just like I have the other piece. To make sure I line up the paper the right way, I just put a piece of masking tape on the bottom of the arrowhead, and now I'll just tape on the other piece, and that will just make it so much easier to just apply it to the arrow. I'm going to take this piece of scrapbook paper and the other two pieces that I cut out for the signs and use my glue stick to apply them right onto the signs. I'll be leaving the same type of frame all the way around. That's why I painted these black. And now I'm just using a brayer that I finally got myself at Michael's for 40% off. Thank goodness. And anyway, this really makes a big difference when you're trying to get all of this pushed down properly and get all the bubbles out. For the next part of this project, I'm taking some of these coffee stir sticks and I got them in a pack and I think I got them at the Dollar Tree a long, long time ago. Anyhow, I'm going to stain them with a gel stain that I do have watered down just a little bit. It lasts a lot longer that way and it just works a lot better with these wood pieces. I'm also going to do the same thing to the ski lodge letters that you see there. And thank you to a viewer who suggested that I put my letters on masking tape so it would be easier to paint, and it definitely was. So thank you for that. I'm going to use the coffee stir sticks to frame out the scrapbook paper, still leaving a little bit of that black showing at the end. And I'll just use my pencil to mark them off, and then these tiny little snips that I also got from the Dollar Tree a while back to just trim off the edges. I'll do the top and the bottom first, and then I'll measure the sides and then hot glue everything into place. If you like what you're seeing so far, I'd love it if you could hit that thumbs up button. That tells YouTube that you like what you see and you like the type of content that I'm putting out there. Then they recommend my video to more and more people, and in turn, I get paid. So that would really be helpful if you could continue to hit that like button for me on each of my videos. I've lined up my wood letters, so now I'm just going to hot glue them in place. Next, I took two more of the coffee stir sticks and I cut the end of them straight and I rounded the tips a little bit. I just trimmed off the square angles a little bit, made a little point, and then just sanded the edges a little bit. Now I'm just going to give them a couple of coats of white paint. I also wanted to use a snowflake for one of these embellishments, but this one was a little too big. So I thought, what the heck, I'm going to cut this guy in half and just use half a snowflake for something a little bit more whimsical. I'm just using my box cutter and I'll give this a coat of paint as well. I used my Cricut to cut out some wording for both of the signs, and I'm using the new Vinyl Ease paper transfer tape. I finally broke down and bought some. It was a little expensive, but I am finding that you can use this over a couple of times. So what I do when I'm finished with this piece, I just stick it right back onto the roll with all the other tape, and it works really well for a couple more times. I'm going to glue the snowflake on at an angle on the one corner of this sign, and I just thought it would look a little bit sort of whimsical or a little different anyway. And my idea for the other sign is to use those two little skis and put those on the one side. I'm going to add some greenery. This is a little frosted pieces that I've got, and I just cut everything apart so I'm working with small little chunks. And then I'm going to add a few little white pip berries, and this project is complete. You'll have to let me know what you think of this one. I think it turned out pretty cool. I would like to share with you that today's video is part of a collaboration. I was invited to this collab from Ellie, who's at DIY from House to Home, and we're also joined by Leanie from Crafty Leanie. We are doing some Dollar Tree DIY challenges, and I believe each of us is doing a different type of video. So you're not going to see all winter videos here. You're going to see a whole bunch of different things. So make sure you head down to my description box and click on the link to the playlist so you can see what Ellie and Leanie have created using Dollar Tree items. I found this cute little Christmas house sign at my Dollar Tree. They were all 50% off for their Christmas decor, and I decided to just rip off all of that paper. Now, it did take me a while, but I got it all the way down to the bare wood. If I would have been smart, I would have just used the other side, but I wanted to use the cute little roof frame, and that one was stapled on really well, and I thought I'd probably end up breaking it if I took it off. So I'm just going to persevere and pull off all of this paper. Next, I just used a piece of masking tape and I went about 2/3 of the way up from the bottom. I'm going to be painting the bottom portion of this house black. And then once that's dry, I'm going to give it 2 coats. I'll go ahead and take the masking tape off, retape it, and paint the top part of it white. That's going to need at least 3 coats just to make sure that it's a nice solid white color. I painted the roof and the chimney all black as well, and now I'm just using a fine tip white marker. You could use a thin paintbrush too if you don't have a marker, but I'm going to go ahead and just draw some freehand bricks on here. I love these oil-based pens, but they are a little finicky, and in a second here you're going to see a big blob happen. It just released too much ink all at once, and I was left with a puddle, there it is, on my project. So I just kind of dabbed it off with a paper towel and then just fixed it up again. If you are new to my channel, perhaps coming over from Ellie or Leanie's channels, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you like what you see, I'd love it if you could hit that red button and support the growth of my channel. I decided to break out a brand new chip brush for this project, and I forgot how nicely they distress. I haven't been using my chip brushes for distressing lately, and I miss it now that I've seen how beautiful it turns out. These are my favorite types of brushes to do distressing with, and I like to get a good quality. This last pack that I got, the bristles are nice and even, and I'm getting a really beautiful texture on this project. I'll finish off my white and then I'll add some black to the top. I used my Cricut one more time and designed this printable. It's come in and get cozy, and of course it will be available on my website as a free printable. I'm using one of the smaller snowflakes that you can get in a pack at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just using some of this light gray paint just to give it one good coat. This is a chalk paint, and one coat is all it takes. Then I'm going to make a buffalo check bow and then plop that onto the corner of the house, add the snowflake on top with some snowballs and a little bit of greenery, and I think this turned out super cute. For this project, I'm using two of these baseballs that you can get in a pack of three. They're just plastic. And yeah, they've got the lines on them, but once I'm finished, you won't be able to see that. I'm going to give them a couple of coats of white paint just to make sure that you can't see any of that plastic peeking through. I'm taking some Mod Podge and applying a generous amount, and then what I'm going to do is put the snowball over this bowl that I have of all these tiny little styrofoam balls. This is the snow that you can get at the Dollar Tree. So this is a fun project. It's super simple to do and has a really wonderful effect. You could even go further if you wanted to and add some sparkle, but I was fine with just the regular snow on here. I'm just going to use the spoon and keep putting them on and tapping it down every once in a while to make sure that I fill in as many spots as I can. Anywhere where there was some Mod Podge that had dried, I switched to a smaller brush and just kind of dabbed a little bit more in. You could also do this a second time if you wanted to. Add a little bit more Mod Podge on top when everything is dry and then put another layer. But I thought the one layer looked pretty cute by itself. I hope you enjoyed these Dollar Tree winter DIYs and got some inspiration to start crafting too. Don't forget to go down to the description box and click on the link to the playlist. Show Leanie and Ellie some love by subscribing and liking their video. This is my last winter DIY video of the season. I'm going to start moving back into some farmhouse decor, and in a couple of weeks, I'll be starting some spring. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.